All right, what's up YouTube? I got some requests for test hand videos with the newly posted undefeated Tearlament deck that I put up with the Synchron version. So we're gonna go ahead and just do a couple test hands and see how this works. Never done this before, so excuse me if I'm a little shaky, but we'll go through it here and just kind of do some test cuts here. I did steal an idea from another YouTuber, Zach Butler. Go ahead and check out his channel. He does test hands and puts up some crazy good deck profiles. Honestly, wouldn't recommend him enough, but he has, when he does test hands, a dice, and then just to keep things honest, we'll roll the dice and then cut the top cards off the top of the deck, and then just basically use that as a cut, so it's a random roll. So that's a 1, so we'll take the top one, put it on the bottom, and let's draw our hand. Terraforming, Rhinoheart, Hellish Doll, Destrudo, and we got Sulik. This hand's pretty good. Definitely can't complain with this hand at all. There's a couple of different things that you kind of want to think about when you're going through your hand. What is this Terraforming going to do with the Destrudo and the Rhinoheart? You know, you can get into the other... you can get into a level 7 play. So we may want to think about doing that instead. So then we can search Rhinoheart or Tearlament, Kashtira, and Fenrir with this. So then we have more plays and more follow-ups. So let's go ahead and just kind of play through this how I would. And then we're not going to worry about hand traps while we're kind of going through this. So let's just run through these plays. So we'll activate our Terraforming. This will search our Wraithos. Wraithos will search our 1 copy of Fenrir. We'll special summon our Fenrir in defense, especially if we're pretending we're going first. We want to make sure we're putting it in defense just to not get blown out by random cards like Lightning Storm. And it has the same defense, so there's no point not to. We'll search out our copy of Tearlament, Kashtira. Let's give this a little shuffle. So the next thing we're actually going to be doing is normal summoning our Rhinoheart. Nothing in the grave, nothing really to fuse with yet, so Rhinoheart is going to be dumping a Tearlament, Kashtira and starting our mills. So let's go ahead and get that going. So there is one thing to note when you are activating this Tearlament, Kashtira. If you think you might be hitting a name and you want to try and dig deeper while the name is resolving, you can, in response to this Tearlament, Kashtira resolving, activate this one in the main phase, since this is a quick effect during the main phase, to banish this Tearlament, Kashtira, special summon this. That mill will resolve, and then you'll have another trigger on the stack to mill, along with anything that you do mill here. So that's something to keep in mind. I don't want to have the chance to mill all my planets, but it might not be a bad idea just in case I do hit a name, since the only other thing we can fuse with right now is to go into Mud Dragon. So let's go ahead and do that. So Chainlink 1 will be the Tearlament, Kashtira to mill 2 cards. Chainlink 2 will be our Kashtira to go ahead and summon itself. So we'll resolve the chain, this will summon, this will mill. We hit 2 King of the Swamps, new chain, Tearlament, Kashtira will mill 3. And we hit the Trivi Karma. So this will be nice because this can actually search something different than the planet, because we have access to the planet with the Destrudo here. So let's go ahead and banish this. And I'm gonna grab, so you have 2 things here. You can go for Grief. Grief is insane in this deck, being able to just be a Foolish Burial, or you want to go with your copy of Scream. Let's kind of think what we're going to be doing next. So we can summon, get level 7. We're going to get another Tearlament out of the deck, so we can go ahead and grab Shiren. Do we want to mill 3 more first? Or do we want the controlled mill since we already have King of the Swamps in the graveyard? Let's see, we're gonna have 7. I think with us not having access to it yet, I think we want to go with the Scream. The reason I go with screen here instead of the control mill as well, my thought process is this is going to be better on our opponent's turn as well. And we want it to set up with this Sulliek if we can. If we can hit another Rhino Heart, that would be great to make some rank 4 plays, or to go into our copy of Cross Sheep if we do end up milling a Synchro of some sort, or a Synchron. So Scream is just going to offer us more flexibility in the long term. So let's go ahead and grab our Scream. We will go ahead and just activate that. Let's go ahead and pay half our life points, special summon Destrudo, and we'll target our Rhino Heart. Obviously, it's the only thing we can. So we're going to pay half our life points, target, special summon this, and its level is reduced by the level and then placed on the bottom. So we'll go ahead and then Synchro right away. Remember, this will always go to the bottom. And, oh, my apologies. I am skipping steps here. When this is summoned, since we have a Tearlament on the field, let's go ahead and mill 3 and see what we get off of this. The only cause for concern for that is if we hit 2 Tearlament names off of this, we may not have the space to go ahead and summon. You can also wait. So let's go ahead and just do the original play like we were doing. Since we already have a Tearlament monster on the field when this is going to summon, we can trigger our Scream off of the summon for the Ancient Fairy Dragon. So let's do that now then. So now we'll mill 3. Poly, Planet, Havness. So we'll go ahead and activate Havness. Let's see. We have a Sulliek that we can discard without any fear. Next thing you want to consider when you're fusion summoning for the first time is it what you want to play around your opponent having. If you think they might have Nib, then we want to go for obviously for a Rukalos because it's the easiest thing. Or if we are just scared in a general threat, we can go ahead and make our copy of Grapha. One thing to note in Grapha, you always want to have cards in your hand to also trigger your Grapha, so that is something to kind of keep in mind as well. And this is looking like we'll have at least one card, even if we mill a Rhino Heart, we can have this in hand. So let's go ahead and go into our Grapha then. Also, zone placement matters a lot. We want to make sure, I know I'm going to be getting rid of this Tearlament Cashier, so this is okay in the middle zone. But when you're summoning your fusion monsters, you want to make sure they're in the Cross Sheep zones, and then the other zone is going to be clear, so that way you can special summon and trigger the Cross Sheep if you need to. So let's go ahead and go forward. That's our life. So we're at 4,000. We'll pop this. We will gain 1,000 and search a copy of our planet. Give that a good shuffle, and then let's activate this. So with this, the Hell Shaddoll is going to get us quite a bit of mill, so we're just going to go Sharon. All right. 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, so let's activate Sharon, discard the special, mill 3 on summon for the resolution. So we don't have a zone to summon this, so that kind of stinks, but we can go ahead and mill. We have Earth, Light, Water, Dark, so that's 4. Let's go ahead and mill our 4 now off of that. We did hit our Revolution Synchron, so that's great. So now we can make sure we can trigger that fully. So let's go ahead and just take a look at what we have in here. Okay. So now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to make our Cross Sheep. So let's think here. You can use Chiron if you want. Then you can't make the Barone because you need to keep one of the, or you can't use Chiron as a fusion material, or you can't pop it. So you got to think, do you want another fusion or do you want a Barone? Those are your two kind of schools of thought when you're going through this line. Let's see. I'm trying to think if we're going to have another fusion. One thing you can do as well is you can burn this You can burn this Medora to pop the Chiron if you want to get another one. The problem is we're running out of space. Let's see. Probably just want to get rid of... Probably get rid of the Fenrir and the Tearlament cache is what I'm kind of thinking here. Because then we can synchro 8. Use that to search another interruption or follow-up if we want. We kind of have everything we need, so that just might make a Dragite, to be completely honest with you. It's a little tricky in this area. Let's go ahead and use these two. And let's go for the Barone play, since people were kind of asking about it. So we'll use these two to go into our cross sheet. We will go ahead and activate our Revolution Synchron here to special summon. We're going to special summon it to our cross sheep zone. I guess it doesn't matter because we're not going to trigger our cross sheep right now, so let's just go ahead and mill one. All we have left is Merly to use. We hit our Havness. Not the greatest, but we do still have Merly in the deck to go ahead and use. Also, this cross sheep can be follow-up as well, so keep that in mind when we're going through our plays here. One thing we can also do is when we summon off the cross sheep, if we feel like we want to make another fusion play, we can bring back the Havness or the Sheeran, or I mean the Sheeran, because we've already used Havness, and pop it. So that might be the play right now, just because we have 2 names in our graveyard and we want to make those as live as possible. All right, another decision tree. So this is all about making decisions kind of on the fly and based on what your opponent's doing. You can make your Amarara or Visas Synchro and search. We already have the copy of Scream, we have a Planet, and we have a Celiac. These are the 3 things you want to make sure you have set up. One thing we can also do with this is we can search the Foolish. So let's go ahead and do that, because that actually kind of gives us the best of all worlds. This is why we play the Grief. So we'll use the Amatara, search Grief, and trigger our cross sheep. So you can go cross sheep 1, Animar 2. So we'll go Grief, get back Rev Synchron. These 2 will make our Barone, making our combo fully insulated. Next, we'll activate our Grief. We haven't used our Planet yet, so keep that in mind. One thing to note with Grief, you can send the same card that you summoned. So we'll grab our Merly. We will fusion these off. So we'll go Merly, Merly, and you want to send back the name you haven't used yet, Sharon, and a Rhino. We're gonna make Kaleido Heart. So we will summon our Kaleido Heart here. Kaleido Heart on summon, we will trigger our Planet, target our Kaleido, pop it. Kaleido will bring itself back, and we will fusion one more time by sending Chiron. And this is, you're getting the full board. I mean, your boards really don't get better than this unless you want to kind of end up on a Toad Negate instead. But, so we'll use Chiron and our King of the Swamp. And go ahead and use this to make a Rukalos here. And then you can set your Celiac. Things to note on this board: you do not have another space to bring something back. You don't have something to bring back then off cross sheep either. One thing you can do is during your main phase, it says you can destroy 1 monster you control. Also, synchro monsters you control gain 800. It doesn't say another. So if you want to clear up a room to make a fusion on your opponent's turn, you can pop itself to clear up the room. So now when you activate Celiac and tribute off, say, your Kaleido Heart, you can send a fusion and make another fusion. And then, or if things get kind of weird and you have to use your Rukalos first, and you don't want to send the Kaleido because you want to save it maybe for Celiac, and you send the Kaleido itself, this can bring itself back under the cross sheep and then special summon, say, your Rhino Heart. Then Rhino Heart can send, you can fuse off the Rukalos that you use and make a Dragos Depelia. So you use the negate and then you gain another negate. This board is just extremely strong. Obviously, you have Omni Negate, kind of an Omni Negate. You have a Solemn Strike on field. You have Effect Negate, a Mill 3, a Pop, and then we still even have a Shuffler in our graveyard, being a Medora, so we can always trigger the Pop whenever we want. I don't know, this hand ended up turning into something crazy. Obviously, it's kind of a random deck. So it depends on what you draw, obviously, and it depends on what you mill. With this version, your mills are going to be a lot weaker, so you either have to, when you're going through your lines, notice your mills are either bad and then slow down and maybe play a little bit different of a game and set up a different board, or you need to kind of push the gas a little bit harder and try and mill even more. That's why the Hell Shadal is in here. I think it missed in my profile. Somebody commented that there was only 39 cards. The 40th card was Hell Shadal. I mentioned that there's cards I was missing that I wanted to put in, but Hell Shadal giving you even just one more mill in this version with your mills being so bad is very important from what I've seen. So it's nice to have just another card that mills. I know we're not playing the Wind It in the side or in the extra, but I don't think Wind It is necessarily needed, especially with people playing like Dark Ruler and stuff right now to outboards and like Book of Moon in general. We really don't need that. Got a Drago Stapelli in there. Let's go ahead and make sure we don't got anything else. All right, we'll give this just a couple more shuffles and we'll do one more test hand and then we'll kind of call it a video. And let me know how you guys like or what you guys like about it, what I can do better, what I can adjust. All right, let's roll our dice. We got a 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Keep ourselves honest and let's draw the hand. Oh my goodness. I mean, this is kind of a god hand. So let's go ahead and just play through it just because. We have the Revolutionary Synchron, so this tuning only has one target in deck. So we're going to start with this tuning right away just to make sure that this gets all of its value. Grab our Jet. Shuffle up. We're going to put 3. And a 1. So, oh my god. Shadal Beast. We'll draw a card. Book of Moon, that's great for follow-up. Alright. So, a couple things to note, whether you want to activate the planet now and thin the deck for a Shiren, or if you want to just use the Rhino Heart right away. I kind of like just using the Rhino Heart, since there's not anything in the graveyard right now besides making a Mud Dragon. So I'm going to want to mill first, and then we can go into our full Revolution Synchron plays. So let's go ahead and use this. Sending Tearlament Kashtira. We're doing 4. And milling 2. We hit a Grief, that's fine. I do like to use the Shuffler every once in a while on the Grief for kind of what we did in the first game. When you get to the end of your combo and you want to guarantee that last fusion, it's really nice to have that Grief in the deck. But we did mill also a King of the Swamp, so that's kind of broken. So now what do we want to do? We can go Tearlament Kashtira. We could have done that in response to the chain as well. I knew we had a good fusion target already, so we didn't necessarily need to do that. We can just go straight into our Revolution Synchron plays, or we can go ahead and grab one out of the deck. I think I kind of want to mill first and see what we hit, and then continue on from there. One thing to note, by using the mill, if we hit a Rhino Heart, we can't use it right now, so that might be something to keep an eye out, especially since right now we are playing the Frog package, so we could end on an even stronger board if we do hit a Rhino Heart. I think, thinking about that, I kind of want to save this then to mill 6 with the Scream that we're going to search. Planet is better than searching a Rathos in my opinion, so we want to keep that here to search later on, because the Planet Pop is just too important on our opponent's turn. So let's go ahead and just Synchro. So we will get our Ancient Fairy Dragon. Ancient Fairy Dragon, we'll use it on our Jet Synchron to bring it out. There's no point not to. Worst case scenario, later on, if we have to, we can pitch the Book of Moon. It's not necessary in our combo. It's not necessary for our end board. You saw how strong our end board was on the first one. We can go ahead and use this. So we have our center field here. So let's go ahead and just make sure we're making our zones correctly. So we will keep this in the center zone, and we'll keep this over here. Right now, you don't have to bring back the Revolution Synchron. You just might as well, because we have the Synchron on the field. We can also wait and do it later, but you want to kind of see what you get off this mill. So let's see. Hit a shuffler. Perfect. We're golden there. We will use those two and go into our Visas. Visas will search us. Copy a screen. This card is just insane in this deck. 1,000,003 is just huge, and then also just having the extra effect on field if you want to plop it with the planet to get your trap for more interruptions if this kind of gets you into a bricky situation. But let's go ahead, activate our screen. One thing to note, actually, what we could have done if we wanted to play it just a little bit better, let's go ahead and just rewind. So I know this was a great mill, but when we got to the point of summoning our Ancient Fairy Dragon, one thing you can also do is leave the Junk Synchron in hand, because we're not going to have monsters to pitch necessarily. I mean, it's going to strand this Jet Synchron in our hand if we'd like, but you can also use this to search out a Merly. Since we have the King of the Swamp in the graveyard, you can special summon off the Ancient Fairy. That will get us mill 3, and then we can pop and use it later on. And then if we get like a Sullik, we can search then our Shiren. That's something that I didn't consider right now. Let's go ahead and try that. I know our mill was kind of broken with the shuffler, but I kind of want to do the optimal play here, because I think getting the extra mill is just insane. I apologize for the rewind there. All right, here we go. Let's do this. Putting 1 on the bottom. We will special summon off Ancient Fairy, our Merly. Let's mill 3. We still hit the Medora, and we hit a Trivy Karma, which is crazy. So before we go any forward with that, let's go ahead and just use this Trivy Karma to search ourselves a copy of Scream. Actually, I think I'm gonna. What would be a better mill, Scream or Sullik? I think we want to add, because we have 2 Rhino Hearts left in the deck. We're going to get another search later on, and I think it's better to have the Sullik in hand just in case we mill the Rhino Heart here. Yeah, let's go that route. Once again, like I said, we kind of want to get to the Sharon so we can use this Jet Synchron in our hand. But we will go ahead and now do the play that we were doing earlier. Mill off the Revolution, King of the Swamp. This deck, you have to be lucky to be good. I'm just going to throw it out there now. Amatara. Search our copy of Scream, like we were saying earlier. I was okay with milling Scream there because I also, not having to pitch a Sullik or having a Sullik in hand is also really nice. Obviously, just for follow-up, it's one of the strongest trap cards that we have. Activate Scream. We'll activate our Tearlament Kashtira here to go ahead and banish. Like I said, I kind of want to keep Grief in the graveyard, so we'll just banish Tearlament Kashtira in the graveyard to special summon. Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2. We will go ahead and mill. We're just God gamers. So we are going to mill 10 here. So the chance that we're getting to fully resolve this Sullik with how many are left is not the greatest when we mill 10. if we bring back the Rhino Heart, it gives us a better chance to make Barone. Let's go ahead and bring this back. We want to try and make the Barone here. So we're gonna go, always set up the thing you want to resolve the most in the back, obviously. So chain link 1, 2, 3. So let's go ahead and resolve these backwards. Mill 5, 3, 4. Sorry, I try and keep these in frame 5, and then mill 5 again. 2, 3, 4, 5. And then Rhino Heart. Summon, discard, Sulik. So now we want to go ahead, and I just like to pull out everything that I'm going to be activating yet and then put the rest in the graveyard, so that way my opponent's not getting confused, I'm not getting confused. We can go ahead and just resolve everything like normal. Let's double check and make sure we can activate this screen before we activate it. So we want this to resolve 100%, so we're going to put it a little bit lower in the chain. We're going to want to search out Synchron with this. So let's make sure we have a target prior to activating that. So we've seen all 3 Rhino Hearts. We've seen all 3 names. We've seen all 3 Tearlament Cashier. I do believe we are out of target, so we cannot activate this Sulik, which is really unfortunate. So we're going to go ahead and just put that in the graveyard. So let's go ahead and resolve it as such. Chain link 1, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna mill 1, 2, 3 cards. Ooh, maybe I didn't want to mill that, but oh well. It's nice because that Sulik will go ahead and get ourselves the Synchron that we wanted. So we'll go ahead and just leave that out over here. This will resolve without effect. We are out as we just milled it. So we will shuffle these up. Synchron will go ahead and use herself. We didn't activate this Rhino Heart because we didn't have targets either. Let's see, what do we want to do here? I don't think we're gonna get to a Barone play, just simply because we are, I mean, we can go ahead and put our Merly back actually. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's go Synchron, Rhino Heart, Merly. This will get us our copy of Kaleido Hearts, and then we will go Havness and one of our King of the Swamps. This will get, let's keep this a little organized here. We're gonna have, I think, a dead Jet Synchron just sitting in our hands. So let's go ahead and go into our Grapha, because we're going to have plenty of discards. Let's resolve the Sulik on a new chain and grab the Havness. All right. Let's go ahead and use these two since we do not need them anymore. Yep, let's use these two. This was summoned back, so we will banish it and put this in the grave. We will go into our cross sheet. We do have to burn a shuffler here in order to get this play off, but I definitely think one shuffler is worth a Barone play. So we are going to put back, let's see, we want to mill, because now you have to set up your mills. You know your deck is getting really low and you are almost out of possibly good mills. So we want to keep that as high as possible. We don't want to put back a mill 5 because we're so low. So let's go 1. We want a draw would be nice. And let's see, what would be the last thing that would be a pretty good? Maybe a Grief. Grief wouldn't be the greatest. And we do not have the best stuff to put back right now in general. Let's go ahead and just put a Sulik back. It's one of the best draws that we can go ahead and continue our plays with. One other thing we could do is we could put back a Rhino Heart. because we have this Havness in hand, and that would make our mills a little bit better. So maybe we'll do that, because then that would the Rhino Heart then guarantees a fusion. So let's do that. We'll shuffle these 3 back. What this will do is, the reason we're shuffling these back is I haven't used Planet yet. So Planet's going to pop this Kaleido. Kaleido's going to summon itself back and sending our last fusion, which is Merly. Now we have Merly 1, Cross Sheep 2, because a fusion monster was summoned back to where it points to. So we will go ahead and use Merly and the King of the Swamp. And then we will also bring back Revolution Synchron. So these 2 will go away, putting these back, making our copy of Rukalos. These will go away, and this will make our Baron. And then we will still have that Book of Moon to set. So this is your end board now. Crazy end board again. Once again, we got a little lucky with our mills with like the Trivi Karma. We did end up seeing the right play of searching the Merly, which was huge. Ended up getting us an extra mill, which 1 extra mill in this deck, which was the Trivi Karma, was very impactful. So thinking before you make that move about what you're going to do and what you're actually going to search off of, planet searches are very important. That will make or break the deck. And also when you're searching for like your Trivi Karma, your Visa Starfrost, basically seeing where you need to end up going. I mean, this board is just insane, and it's going to be almost impossible for our opponent to crack unless they open like a Dark Ruler or a Book of Eclipse, and even then they have to open 2 Book of Eclipse because they have to do out the Baron and then the actual Graph-Fusion, and then if they activate a monster effect, you're milling 6, and with our deck count being so low, the chances of whiffing off of a mill 6 is just insane. Like we're not whiffing. So that's the deck. Let me know if there's anything that you think can be improved upon, what you like to see. If you want to see maybe some more combo tutorials, not even combo tutorials, I guess, test hands. There's no combo tutorial for this deck just because you're basing your whole deck off of your mills, so you can't cookie cutter end with the same board each time. I mean, I got pretty close in ending in the exact same board. I think the only difference was I had a Sullick set and I had the option of having the Visas on the field compared to having a Book of Moon. So, and this one I ended up having more cards in hand at the very end with the Jet Synchron and the Havness. So let me know if you guys like this, if you want to see any more. This is Pure TCG. Have a great one.